What's up, guys? Welcome to Nimble Minds Talks of Self and Spirituality, where I give my perspective on different philosophies and spiritual practices, and where I just, kind of yap and talk about topics that come to mind as well. So, the topic of this video is still going to be dealing with the things that are in the realm of temptations, mainly lust and retaining your seed. Don't spill your seed, even though the urges can be strong. Yes, yes, yes. Don't watch corn, all that types of stuff. But the topic of this video is just going to be on relationships and my perspective on it. Let's get right into it. So when it comes to relationships, me personally, I've only had really one like real not even wasn't I wouldn't even say it's a real relationship because it was in high school, and it was like I wouldn't even count that because you're so young and there was so much you're not thinking about. You're just kind of still following the crowd in a sense in high school. So I really had one experience, and that's about it. But besides that, after that, was never in a relationship since then, and even now don't really have any feelings to or any urges to get in a relationship. And there is some reasons for that. There's definitely some reasons for that. So let's talk about it. Once again, one of the first reasons is it does have to do with lust. I have seen firsthand, and not only that, I've heard many stories about the situations people get themselves into because they can't control themselves, especially discipline, okay? You got to have that dingaling discipline, okay? There's a lot of people out here that don't have the tallynackle discipline. They just don't. So if they see any, woman walking by, they just got to have them. And to each their own, to each their own. Everybody does them, right? But me personally, that's not me. So when it comes to relationships, they even in high school, we're young, right? You're still young, but you still get to see how people act in different social situations, and sometimes that's good, and sometimes it's not good. Sometimes it's bad, and fortunately, when you're younger and things like that happen, you get a chance to grow up and actually change certain habits and certain behaviors, right? But some people don't change very much, and that may be what it is. But there are some situations though that happened then, even more recent, and I'll talk about those as well. But I do want to start in high school. So I did have this one situation, right? And in high school, right, there was some cool people, right? Cool people. We were cool. We talked way more often than now, but we were I used to hang out. I'm pretty sure in high school everybody has their groups of friends that people hang out with, right? But this group of friends, right, there was one person in particular. I'm gonna call him, just call him String One. Call him String One, right? Because I'm looking at my guitar over here. Call this person String One, right? String One has a girl, and then String Two doesn't have a girl. Okay, so String One had this girl, and String One would talk to him, and that's okay. And from my understanding, this is even how I am now. Even then, my thing was, if I even know anyone that's talking to any woman, if I have an idea about anybody that's talking to any woman that I know, they're off limits. Period. I don't care what it is. I don't care how good she looked. She won't even look good anymore. Like if there's somebody I know is talking to her, that's all of them. I don't even care. Even after they break up, I don't even want to talk to them. That's literally how I am till this day, and I'll probably be like that till the end of days because that's just not my style. That's just not me personally. But String One had this girl that they were talking to, so that's my impression, right? And then there was another person, String Two. Okay, String Two knew String One had this girl, but String Two would still, go and talk to this girl, and the girl would talk back to him. Okay, and over time, String One was like, hey, that's who I'm talking to. I know you see it. Like you guys know already. Why are you still? Can you not do that? And apparently there was an agreement. But then, although there was agreement and String One told String Two, hey, this is my girl, String Two kept talking to String One's girl. And eventually it got to a point where String Two, right, would be going to like certain events with String One's girl. And then it got to a point where that became a point of tension. And, from the outside looking in, keep in mind, I'm on the outside looking, I'm seeing all this play out literally. And I'm like, hold up, this ain't right. Even in my, high school brain, okay? Where there was popular, the popular thing was, oh my gosh, this person had this girl, those girls with this. And looking back now, what a mentality to have. I can't even believe, but hey, when you're young, it's just craziness, right? But string two, was still hanging out with this person's girl, okay? And eventually it got to a point where they were just having issues going back and forth, right? And it was over a woman, okay? And it was over, and keep in mind, on the outside looking in, I'm young. And even now, thinking about it now, it's like, okay, that type of stuff isn't worth it, okay? Looking back now, that type of stuff isn't, and even then, that type of stuff isn't worth it, okay? Look where lust can lead you. Look where desires can lead you, okay? Because just me thinking about it, I don't understand what the thought process was there. Maybe there wasn't an understanding, but, maybe she was for the team and they knew. I don't know. That's why I was on the outside looking in. And that stuff's not okay, okay? And that's one of the things that has affected my view on relationships, is because not only was it the issue between string one, who had the girl to tell string two to not talk to his girl, and he still was talking to his girl behind his back. But for me, the pressure and some of the blame, if you want to even call it blame or whatever, was still on the girl herself, the female herself, the woman herself, because she could have just cold shouldered him. And even not just that, it don't have to be nothing crazy. She could have just been like, hey, I have someone I'm talking to. So, let's just keep it respectful or something like that. But no, dude, nah, not at all. That's not what happened. They were just conversating normally as if string one didn't exist. And yeah, that caused a lot of beef, a lot of tension. And between them, that was just unnecessary. And obviously you grow up, right? So you may get over that and that's not an issue anymore. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is the whole premise of it, though, and how it has affected my view of relationships. Because now, even though that was a thing then, you can still see this play out now, where there may be somebody you want to talk to, or you are talking to, or maybe you're the person that on the outside looking in, and you see people that are talking to each other that like each other, and you can see other people like, oh, okay, this person looks kind of good. Wait a minute. I know this person may be talking to this person, but I'm kind of interested. So maybe let me see how I can put myself here so I can have a good chance. Like there's people out there that are like that. There's people out there that are like that. Okay. So you have to control your lust, because that's a temptation right there. Being tempted to talk to somebody else's significant other, somebody else that's in a relationship with somebody, that is a temptation right there. Okay. Me personally, I don't know where that comes from. I don't know where that urge comes from. Because I can tell you now, I have not had the urge to really want to, especially if it's someone I know, like sleep with their woman and talk to them at all. Because it's like, no, it never made sense to me. Never did. And I'm glad it doesn't. I'm glad it still doesn't, because that's not something I agree with. So that's one of the things that has affected my view of relationships. And then on top of that, just things you see on social media, and then the climate, okay? The climate of dating, especially with online dating, and it comes to things like that. I've tried online dating, and every time I've tried it, it has been for maybe a couple of days at a time. I just felt guilty being on. I'm so serious. I felt guilty having online dating profiles. Something about it was just not right to me. Something about it was just not right. So I had to get off. I had to delete it. It just wasn't right for me. I tried it too. It just was not good for me. I just didn't like it. It wasn't inauthentic to me. I'm more of the in-person, if we like each other, then cool. If we don't, cool. But the online dating thing to me is nah. I think that's more of hookup culture. I would say that's more hookup culture. So for the people out there that are with the hookup culture, for sure. Okay, I'm sure there's a place for them, but for me, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's not gonna go for me. Online dating, absolutely not. Not for me. Okay, not for me. All right. But yeah, that's some of the things that have changed my perspectives on relationships. Okay, because growing up, I'll tell you, I used to have a very rose-colored glasses type of flowered smelling type of view on relationships, and it wasn't realistic. I would say there's still great things about relationships, but having that perspective just was not realistic at the time. And I'm glad that I did not get into relationships too soon or too quickly, especially now that I understand certain things because of that. Because I did have those that type of view on relationships. I could have easily gotten to a situation that was just like string one and string two. I could have easily gotten to a relationship where she had one and then two dudes. Like, I'm so serious. I could have easily been in a situation where she's smiling with me, laughing with me, but then she's smiling with him, laughing with him too. Like, that could have been so easy. So I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful that I did not end up in a situation like that, because it happens. It happens more often than it should, in my opinion. And it happens so much more often that I think if people knew how often it happened, they'd probably be like, you know what, let me chill. But, you know, yeah. So that's how I view relationships. I still think, getting in relationships is a great thing when it's done correctly, when it works right, okay? But I do believe relationships aren't for everyone, okay? And I'm still young, so you never want to just uh, completely, just give up on something or put all your eggs in one basket, and put all my eggs in the basket of saying, relationships are just not going to work. But I can say, even though all my eggs are not in one basket, I can say I have gotten to the point where it is, if I'm not in a relationship, I'm not tripping, I'm not, losing sleep. It's just like, hey, I'm just not in a relationship, and that's just how it is. I guess there's like what would they say? It's a numbers game. Some people gonna be in relationships, some people not gonna be in relationships. So hey, I'm just not in relationships. I'm cool with that, especially because some of the issues it can bring, although it can bring, I'm sure plenty of benefits of the issues I have seen it bring. Okay, and then hear about it bringing. I'm just like, maybe not. Maybe I'm okay not being in a relationship. Maybe it sounds good for a little bit, right? When you're craving it, when you have the urge, when you have them temptations. But then after a while, after that phase, you're like, actually, hold on. Hold on a second. Let me be grateful real quick. Let me say my prayers real quick. Thank you, because maybe it's not uh, all that is cracked up to be, especially with that. And then that was just high school. But now, at this point, right? Think about the stuff. There's just more things on top of that now, because then you don't have nothing to worry about. You're just in high school. You should probably live with like a parent or something, or some kind of caretaker, and then you just go to school. But now people have jobs. People might have a family, and then it's like you want to try to talk to the girl, and you got a family. Like, nah, that just stuff is too many variables now. Too many variables now, and hey, I'm not complaining over here. Not complaining over here, but that is how my view on relationships has changed. Because there was even a time where I was feeling sad. I even felt like, dang, I'm supposed to be in a relationship, but that's just the pressures that society can put on you sometimes. That's just like, oh, you might see friends in a relationship. Then you open your phone every now and then, you might see like what is it, like a couples channel, or not even that, just like I don't know, just like people together or something in a relationship, and you're like, oh my gosh, then you gotta have your little sad moment for a second or whatever. But that can just be the pressure society puts on you. But once you get over that and you start to actually look at things for what they are and not for where you want them to be, okay, you will start to understand, oh, okay, it's actually not that serious. It's not that bad, okay? It's not that bad. It really isn't. Okay, it's probably a lot better than you give yourself credit for, honestly. So yeah, that's where I'm at on relationships. Keep in mind, I'm still a young guy, right? I'm still a young guy, so I have that. You could say that young outlook, still young perspective, right? But that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. So that's my view on relationships. Whoever's watching, whoever's listening, I hope you could take something from this video, and apply it to your life in a way that's positive. I will say from all my other videos, it's maybe been a slightly different, right? Still focused on temptations, right? Still focused on lust, right? And how that can lead you to do things in relationships that result in destruction and just chaos around you. But still hope you could take something from this that's beneficial. So with that being said, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.